Hi, this is Samprada again, and today we shall proceed towards creating our first workflow foundation console application. Okay, so let's start with creating a new workflow project. Say File, New Project, C# and Workflow. There's a category called Workflow, and these are the kinds of workflow projects that can be created. For now, we'll go with a very simple console application using sequential workflow. So I give this project a name called example WF console. Yeah. Okay. This is the designer that you get. This is the project designer that you can see. You have start and end points, and as said, you can drop activities or workflow controls which are specified here onto this designer. Okay, you can just add any number of controls here. Just let me show you a few. Or I say, okay, so just these are the workflow controls that you can drag and drop, and this is the way it would flow. This is the way your business logic would flow between the start, that is once your workflow application starts, this is the way it would flow until the workflow completed event. Okay. Another thing, let me remind you that Workflow Foundation works with .NET versions 3.0 and further. So today we start with our first console application. It's called a simple airline booking system. Okay, so for the application we would be having a list of cities, and we would decide whether the user's booking is confirmed based on whether the source and destination that he has mentioned exists in our list of cities. Okay, again we are assuming that there's no scarcity of seats in the aircraft, so we are just it's a very simple application without any complications. So we decide just based on whether the source and destination are present in our list, and we display that the booking is confirmed or the booking is failed. Okay, so it seems to be a fairly simple application. Let's analyze this. Now I say a code activity. A code activity is each of these blocks are they contain code, that is a frozen block of code. So when this application is started, this and that is the trigger to say that come on, please execute this code activity. So based on the output of this code activity, this block would decide, the code in this block would be executed. Okay, so this is how it works. So a code activity, let's give it some name. I say ask location, and what code shall we execute here? Execute a code called get source destination. Okay, so the handler is generated. A very simple application where we would ask the user to please enter the source. Fine. Before this we need to create a few things. The first thing is we need to have a array list. Added just two cities, Pune and Bangalore. Okay, so we initialize this in this constructor. Okay, and now we add two properties for storing the source and the destination that the user enters. Okay, so let's include two properties here, call the source, the destination. Okay, and so we would be saying that equals console.readline. Okay, and here we would say store the destination here. So we are now done with this ask location block. So the application would start and ask a location to the user. Now what are we supposed to do with this location is what we decide here. This is an if-else workflow control. Okay, this is just a structure which will decide which way to go, this or this, to go to this block or this block. This doesn't work automatically. This is just a structure, and you will have to add some code activities into this to make the structure work. Like just imagine when you have a computer hardware, and you're expecting, how do you expect it to work without an operating system, right? So it's something like that. So this is the working logic which would make this particular block work. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to this first block, if else activity 1. There are this particular if else block has an important and mandatory property to be set called condition. So you can set your conditions through code in the code behind, or you can use the GUI to set your conditions. Okay, so here let's use the GUI for now. For this if block, I add a condition saying this dot cities dot contains this dot underscore equal to true, and at the same time we also want the destination to be in our list of cities. Yes, our booking can be confirmed. Okay, so let's rename this condition to say flight exists. Okay, say okay, and now let's go further and analyze this code activity. So I call it booking confirmed. Confirm. Okay, so I say console.writeLine. Okay, and we say just read a key. Now similarly, let's also set, this is the exact opposite. So if this condition is not true, by default it would be going to this block only, so there's no need to actually set a condition over here. Okay, so you see that in this case the mandatory condition setting is for one block only. Execute this code called, let's call this as booking field. So I say booking error. Yeah, and here I write console.writeLine. Working failed. So we have done the configuration for this workflow now. Now let's see how this runs. Okay, now before we actually go ahead and run this particular application, let me bring one thing to your notice. That is, each workflow project would have some amount of auto-generated code. Okay, what is it doing over here? Okay, so let me explain this to you in a diagrammatic form. Here, each workflow application uses the workflow runtime to have it run successfully. Okay, of course there is, and the CLR obviously exists, which would run at the base, but for workflows, for running the workflows, we use the workflow runtime. So it's normally that we use one workflow runtime per application. Okay, so inside this workflow runtime you can add any number of services, any number of workflows like the one just we added. You can add 10 or 20 more workflows inside this block as well. Okay, so, this is at the application level. Now when you run the application, each user runs the application, he would be using just one instance of the workflow that he is supposed to run. So each user is using a different thread, Now this runs asynchronously using okay, so I'll show you how that's done. So here we are using our workflow runtime, creating an object of the workflow runtime, creating an auto reset handle event, so and creating a wait handle so that this thread can be blocked for the user who's currently running the application. Okay, similarly each user would have this one wait handle with this application for himself. Okay, here we are handling two events called workflow completed and workflow terminated. Okay, in case you really wish to do something once the workflow is completed, like you want to run another application once you see that this workflow is completed, or you want to run some other workflow once the okay, so when you create you can create a delegate of this and just add your code over here. So they have just set this wait handle for now, and in case the workflow is terminated, the default code that they have written is just display the exception and just release this thread. Okay, then lastly, we have currently not added any services to this workflow, so we'll do that later on in our next application. Okay, so this now we are creating an instance for the user who will run this application. An instance is created, the instance of type workflow1, and once we have done these settings, we say that please start our instance. Each instance would have a unique instance ID which you can use for further processing. Okay, so let's simply run this workflow application and see what it has in store for us. Now also observe that we have included just two cities here, Pune and Bangalore. We say that please mention a source. We say let's execute the first branch and give the right cities, Pune and Bangalore. Yes, so it says fine, booking is confirmed. Okay, so some wrong cities, like let's say we'll give Pune as right one, and let's give it as Delhi. So this should say an error. Does it say? Yeah. So it says booking failed as there are no flights from the source to destination you provided. So fine, our workflow runs perfectly fine. So that's how you try it at your ends too. And in case you require any more information or any more detail, or you have some doubts, or you have to suggest some improvements, do let me know. There's definitely a lot of scope for improvement. Okay, so hope you like this presentation, hope you like this video. Thanks.